Our next speaker is Åsa Wikberg Nilsson. She's a designer and professor of design at Luleå University of Technology. And her approach to applied design research uses inclusive co-design methods. Yes, and to further develop knowledge and design that contribute to sustainability. You can please come here, Åsa.
Where you are. Can't I be here?
Yeah,
okay.
and today you will talk about how design can create value and effect. And we heard we have a big need for that.
Yeah.
Yes. So
we do.
Please, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the power of design. I think it's a superpower, and I will tell you a bit why. I'm going to talk about human behavior and give some examples of how we, through design, can create value and authentic sustainability, because I think that's so important. But let's start with... Oh, that's interesting. Well, yes. Let's start with the power of design. Because I genuinely believe that, as I said, that design is a superpower. So in line with Don Norman, I strongly believe that understanding human behavior is critical in creating value through design. And when I say value, I mainly mean for value for the users, actually. Usually we talk about value for the businesses. And I do believe we should talk about value for society as well. But I really want to focus on users first. I also believe that strategic design for sustainability positions designers as change agents, in line with Cohen and Hoskin, and that this is something that we should address in our design educations more. And I also really want to emphasize the designer sensibility. This is something we talk too little about, as also addressed by Anna Rylander and colleagues. Sometimes I think we talk about, well, design thinking is very hyped right now, and we talk about design processes and design methods, and that is really good. But we also need to talk about the knowledges and skills designers possess through their education and design experiences. In line with Wangel and Fauré, I also believe that design has the potential to create broader impact and value beyond technology and efficiency. Today's society is very focused on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. But I think we need STEAM. We need to add art and design to that as well, to create things that people really want and need to create, to be able to live sustainably. So how do we actually do this? Well, that's what my next slide addresses. I think we should design with human behavior in mind. In terms of sustainable lifestyles, we usually talk about our houses as one source for reaching more sustainable lifestyles. We can also talk about our travels, the trips we take to work, or how we choose to do our vacations, for example. What we eat is another source for reaching sustainability. We know that eating locally produced food or green is good for the planet. All of this is knowledge we already have, but I find that most people still struggle with understanding what they can do in their daily life to make sustainable choices. And this is where the power of design comes in, I think. I think we can co-create value together with users and better understand what's important in their lives and what can they do in their daily lives to be more sustainable. For example, many believe that a sustainable life means a lot of sacrifices, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. For example, if I take the bike to work twice a week, I will live a healthier life, and perhaps I meet some new friends on the way. I don't know. But these things of sacrifices, I think that's something we really need to address more. I think that perspectives are really important in design projects or through design solutions. We need to support users in identifying what to do, where to start, for example, by setting up individual goals and focuses. This will also support them to make the changes. And visualization, that's another superpower of design. For example, it can be visual cues of their climate-smart lives. It can be triggers or other solutions that help them also visualize how their climate-smart life will be or could be. And this will get them into an improved life quality, I think. And to do this, we need to address the habits of mind. We know that we people are lazy. So we need some triggers to actually remind ourselves of what we can do in our daily lives to be more sustainable. And here design really can come in and support users through different design solutions. So this is the project that I'm going to talk about today. And this project is actually ongoing, so I can't tell you everything. We don't have all the results yet. And we are finalizing the details right now. And this is a collaborative project in which we have been financed by the Swedish Energy Agency and SVID. And we have researchers and practitioners from design, architecture, engineering, building companies, UX design, and behavioral design. And the whole idea with this project is to build a smart home with smart design solutions that people actually want to have, and solutions that support them into a sustainable lifestyle. And smart how, you might wonder. Well, let me tell you. Here it comes. This house will be, we are building it right now, so it will be an 83 square meters building that we now call Skottet. It will have a smart home system that is currently being designed, and I will tell you a bit more about that later on. It will have smart materials, and they are produced locally, and they fit the Arctic climate, and most of the materials also come from northern Sweden, so they support local businesses. And of course, building materials can be smart in different ways, and we have chosen a holistic perspective in this, and we use several smart materials, for example, KL wood in the floors and the walls and the ceilings, because they don't need any additions. What you see is what you get. And we also think that this gives a feeling of Nordic design. We also use smart building technologies, but please don't ask me anything about that, because that's the architecture group's responsibility. But as you can see here, we are building the house in modules, and all the insulation, all the technology, all the electronics, everything is built into different wall sections, and then we put them together at site. And here you can see some of the renderings that was made to visualize what we want in the house. And you see the wooden walls and the floor, and also, and this is very important for me, the kind of aesthetic experience that we strive for in this house. We want to use solid, sustainable materials and nice designs to get that Nordic design feeling. And here you can see a rendering of the kitchen and the open layout of the house. And this is a collaboration with local manufacturers of the kitchen and the bathroom to fit the rest of the house. So we are also supporting a lot of small SMEs and local businesses in this project. And they will be delivered and installed at place to reduce the packaging and to contribute to a more environmentally friendly process, of course. Yes. But what about that smart home system? Usually when we talk about smart home system, we talk very much about technology and automation. And I think this was the case in this project as well. We have a local northern Swedish engineering firm who is developing the smart system, and they wanted to hide everything in the walls, and the user shouldn't be able to actually interact with the smart system. So we started with the workshop series to teach them a bit about design and how to think about user behavior in different ways. And of course, a smart system. What is a smart system? How many know what a smart system is? 1, 2, oh, now more people. Well, it can be smart lighting, of course, automatic control, that the light goes on when you enter a room and it turns off when you exit the room, for example, to contribute to energy efficiency. It can also be smart thermostats that have adaptive temperature controls, for example. It can be smart security systems, such as cameras and sensors in different ways. And it can also be a number of smart appliances with connected devices that uses automation to monitor energy costs. And we have all of that, but that's mostly or mainly the engineering solutions. So what we really have put our energy into in this house is that it should contribute to a positive user experience in all of its aspects, I think. We are currently designing the system to have personal check-in and check-out, so the house can welcome you when you come home. It can adjust the lighting and climate, for example, after your personal preferences. And we are also designing a system in which you can choose how much nudges you want to live a sustainable life. It can leverage users' emotions or habits to create meaningful interactions, making the smart home feel responsive to my individual needs and preferences. And currently, we are also prototyping different kinds of triggers for energy-efficient behaviors. For example, trigger the user to move when they have been laying down in the sofa for too long, trigger them to lower the temperature and put on a blanket instead, to take the bike to work, or to eat green, or to share energy with their neighbors. And what solutions will be in the final smart home system? Well, that's yet to be seen, actually, as we want to try out different things and see what kind of effects and responses that we get out of this. So, I hope that you found this interesting and get in touch to talk more about how design can contribute to authentic, sustainable lifestyles. Thank you so much.